I'm Sung-Ri from the Korea Maritime Institute. The Korea Maritime Institute is the government think tank of the Korea, especially in the port development and make the policy. Today, I would like to deliver the topic is the future and experience of the port logistic park in the Korea. Today, I would like to introduce Korea Port, in particular, Port District Park and business model associated with it that through the economic growth of Korea. In addition, I will touch upon the development of a Korean port and future of port and port district park with changes in the global environment. First of all, I will talk about the growth process of a global port and associate with growth process of the Korean port. Second topic is the birth of Korean district park caused by changes in global economy and the logistic environment, and its growth process will be introduced. Then I will introduce a business model that was utilized to generate profit in the port district park of Korea. Finally, I will introduce the present, past, and growth process of port and port district park in line with changes in global economy, environment, and technology under the theme of future shape of port. From now on, I will introduce the growth process of global ports and cases of Korea. Most of the global ports start from a small fishing port and had growth into small trade port, free trade port, and hub port. As ports went through the separation process due to growth and conflict between ports and cities, they grew into a multi-hub gateway region. Currently, Busan Port in Korea is in the process of growing from a hub port city to a multi-hub gateway region, and it can be said that New York, New Jersey, Los Angeles, and Long Beach in the United States, and Tokyo and Yokohama in Japan have been evolved into a multi-hub gateway region. Of course, even though Rotterdam in the Netherlands and Antwerp in the Belgium are classified as two countries, they can be seen as a multi-hub gateway region. Port in Korea also experienced the growth process experienced by global ports. As you can see in the left side of the picture, Korean ports have grown from a complex and crowded port where people directly unloaded cargo without any unloading facilities into a clean and efficient port as shown in the middle part of the picture now. Development is underway for a future port where cities and cargo coexist and people and cargo are organically connected as shown in the picture on the right. Ports evolved like living creatures. The space that used to be used for unloading cargo initially has gradually moved to the outside and transformed into a passenger terminal and waterfront, so on. Through port, the development, the Busan North Port, which is an older Busan port, is at the center of this transformation. Ports not only face international competition and conflict, but also compete with ports in neighboring countries, particularly in Asia, where the world's largest cargo volume is handled. This competition process is fast and intense. In the 18 and 1980s, Singapore Port, Hong Kong Port, and Kobe Port in Japan played a central role in Asia. Such major ports were thought to play that role forever, but significant changes have occurred since then. Currently, only Singapore Port maintains its major port position in Asia, and Hong Kong Port were surpassed by Shenzhen Port, and Kobe Port was surpassed by Busan Port. After that, Shanghai Port, Ningbo Port, and Qingdao Port have emerged to take that place. Nobody knows what will happen to the ports that maintained hub port position at this moment in 10 to 20 years. One thing, we need to note that even though the growth process of ports are mostly similar, the structure of connecting logistics between a port and hinterland is different depending on the characteristics of the region where the port is located. In case of North America, where one or two countries with large territory exist, only large ports exist along the eastern and western coast, and land bridge connection to support logistics and development. Accordingly, the density of logistics is the high in the shaped straight line along the coast, and the density of logistics becomes weak gradually. On the contrary, in case where many smaller countries are connected, even though there are efficient connection systems like Europe, the cargo is delivered with large logistics center placed in the middle, where ports focus on the function of passing through the cargo. So in Europe, large logistics centers are concentrated in Austria and South Germany. Asia shows a completely different shape. Logistics connection with hinterland countries is not smooth for political and economic issues, even though there are many countries and there are many obstacles in the land. Therefore, we need to keep in mind that ports and hinterland logistic network are not always the same, but different according to the characteristics of continents and the regions. In the second chapter, I would like to talk about the intensified global division of labor caused by reinforcement of the global supply chain management. Disturbance in the division of work system due to recent global risk, emergence of a new logistics system and logistics business model to generate profit by utilizing associated port district park. The transportation revolution, which began with containerization, accelerated globalization, and the global free trade stance accelerated the growth of global supply chain management. The GSCM process, in which raw materials, parts, and semi-finished products produced in many countries are combined to make a product, has become common. The process from the US, semiconductors, and LCDs from Korea, hard disk from Japan, keyboard from Vietnam, printer and the mouser from China are combined to make a computer set on my desk today. The GSCM system puts affiliate or partners of companies on the global stage. Apple engages the US, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and China as the partner countries for international division of labor and sells their product to the global market. Through this process, it maximized its profit. For example, it is using the system of international division of labor based on their location policy, such as placing low value-added plants in a place with cheap labor cost and placing high value-added plants in a place where labor cost high. The advancement of international division of labor with expansion of global SCM strengthened the role of ports and port district park, the optimal place for processing, packaging, and storing raw materials, semi-finished products, and parts then need to be moved frequently is the port district park where cargoes mainly handled. The pictures above show the gradual movement of a logistics center and processing plants to port backup area for the past 20 years for ports in Europe. In Placer 1, logistics centers are dispersed along the port, hinterland city, and hinterland logistics network, and they are being clustered while going through the Placer 2 and Placer 3. And in Placer 4, most logistics centers and processing trade are clustered in the hinterland. In particular, the role of the port district park is more important for countries where processing trade is the center of the economy. In the meantime, another change is the appearance of mega ships. In the early 2000s, the capacity of ships were about 8,000 TEU, and it increased to 15,000 TEU in 2020. And currently, ships with a capacity of 24,000 TEU are commercialized. Emergence of mega ships not only increased the size of ports, but also promoted competition with distance ports. It means that mega ships cannot enter many ports due to their size and have to load cargo at a limited number of large ports. Therefore, in case of Busan Port in Korea, the scope of competition port has been expanded from Shanghai Port and Qingdao Port in China, Tokyo Port and Kobe Port in Japan, to Hong Kong Port and Kaohsiung Port in Taiwan. The emergence of mega ships brought about changes in enlargement of port size and overall logistics system. The size of port logistics became large, frequency became lower, and the power of consumers in logistics increased. Last mile delivery, where small product and delivered at high frequency, was activated. Eventually, this promoted the changes in the overall hinterland connected to a port and overall hinterland logistic system. As the importance and the utilization of a port district park increased thanks to GSCM and emergence of mega ships, large port district park was constructed at ports in Korea, including Busan Port and Incheon Port, and global logistics companies and manufacturing companies are moved into Port District Park to carry out various business activities. This slide shows the coffee logistic business model being implemented in Korean Port District Park. Various kinds of business models are being implemented, such as importing coffee beans produced in many parts of the world and exporting after storing and managing the coffee beans in Port District Park, selling the coffee beans as a secondary product after roasting, and branding the coffee beans and exporting them after packing the coffee beans, or processing them as instant coffee or coffee product. Coffee is one of the representative products suitable for importing, processing, storing, and exporting it in the district park as the producing countries, processing countries, and consumers are separated. In addition, port logistics, which used to focus on simple unloading or storage in the past, is generating profit through the various value-added logistics activities such as warehousing, rearrangement, checking, labeling, processing, assembling, packing, extracting, deassembling, and repacking. On the other hand, the emergence of the fourth industrial technologies, in particular, smartphone, brought about the changes in purchasing pattern of consumers and increased power of consumers in the market. In the past, consumers visit stores in person to buy products, but emergence of smartphone diversified purchasing channels such as store, home shopping, and product applications. And recently, it is evolving into omni-channel type of purchasing where consumers find and check the product at the store and purchase the same product in an online channel that provides the product at the cheapest price with the fast delivery using smartphone applications. This further enhanced the power of consumers, and distributors and manufacturers are entering the world of infinite competition to meet the consumers' needs. In addition, there is the globalization of risks, which is referred to as the shadow of globalization. In the past, the occurrence of local risks was limited to the region generally. However, due to globalization, where people and cargo move freely among the countries, the strengthened connection is leading to globalization of risks. The Great Fukushima earthquake in Japan in 2011 stopped machinery and automobile factories in Korea and China, and flood that occurred in Thailand stopped the automobile plants in Japan. That was because the parts produced in Japan were not supplied to Korea and China, and parts produced by Japanese auto part companies in Thailand could not supply products to Japan. The problem in one part of supply chain affects overall industry. Infectious disease such as COVID-19 and MERS are spreading rapidly throughout the world due to globalization, casting a dark shadow of globalization. This has accelerated the phenomenon of processing or purchasing processes using a smartphone at consumers' hands. It is to secure stability and convenience in a non-face-to-face way. This phenomenon can be confirmed with statistical data. The global e-commerce market has maintained high annual growth rate of 21.2% and is estimated to grow to 4 trillion market by 2020. As of 2017, the e-commerce accounted for only 10% in global retail market, but its share is expected to increase to 15%. B2B business led by companies is changing to consumer-oriented B2C businesses. In the 1990s, the logistics concept such as just-in-time that focuses on the production of goods and efficiency of delivery based on the concepts of SCM and ERP was important. In the period of from 2000 to 2020, logistics warehouse automation revolution was made, such as automation of loading and unloading and improvement of visibility of product movement based on storage and sorting. As the last mile delivery has become more important since 2015, consumers want cheap, safe, and on-time delivery. So now new types of distribution and logistics systems, such as predictive delivery of products using big data, safe, stable delivery using blockchain, and quick delivery using drones are emerging. In the last chapter, I would like to talk about the changes of Korean port logistics, which has grown led by ports and port district park to meet the needs of consumers whose power increased strongly in the distribution and logistics center. First of all, global warming caused by the use of fossil fuels has demanded the changes in port and shipping market, and the future logistics means and bases equipped with new technologies such as eco-friendly ships and smart port are emerging. In particular, in terms of hardware, equipment such as a robot, drone, and unmanned vehicles appeared and began to develop. In terms of software, technologies such as AI, big data, IoT, and blockchain are applied and growing. The development of hardware side for future port is underway on the way to replace expensive labor and handle cargo safely and quickly. Long Beach in the US, Yangshan Port in China, Rotterdam Port in the Netherlands, and Tuas Port in Singapore started construction with a goal of full automation, and some of the facilities are in operation. Let's look at the short video clip on automated terminals at Long Beach in the US and Yangshan Port in China.
Was bringt grüne Containertransportfahrzeuge von Deutschland nach Kalifornien? Visionen. Die KfW übernimmt Verantwortung und fördert Projekte, die vorangehen. Zum Beispiel für innovative Transportinfrastruktur. Long Beach. Impulse für Elektromobilität. Der Greenport zählt zu den größten Häfen der Welt und wurde bereits mehrfach für seine engagierte Umweltpolitik ausgezeichnet. Ein wichtiger Baustein dabei sind 72 Automated Guided Vehicles, kurz AGV. Die fahrerlosen, batteriebetriebenen Fahrzeuge übernehmen vollautomatisch den Containertransport. Sie arbeiten emissionsfrei und entsprechen damit der Umweltvision des Hafens. Hergestellt werden die Fahrzeuge von Terexport Solutions Düsseldorf. Für die KfW zählt die Unterstützung der deutschen Wirtschaft beim Exportgeschäft zu den zentralen Aufgaben. Über ihre Tochter KfW IPEX Bank finanziert sie diese grüne Spitzentechnologie Made in Germany. Veränderung braucht Visionen. Wir übernehmen Verantwortung und setzen uns weltweit dafür ein, die Lebensbedingungen nachhaltig zu verbessern.
码头装卸现场，只见吊车和自动导引运输车忙碌，却空无一人。未来这里的生产控制只需要9个人。码头和堆场就像一个巨大的棋盘，这些自动导引运输车会根据地下埋藏的61199根磁钉，感知自己的位置。未来会有130辆这样的自动导引运输车同时工作，他们要根据实时装载需要和路况，选择最经济的路线。
先直角弯转到 PP，
找到目标的那个。
王岩他们编写了30多万条代码，为自动导引运输车算出最佳路径。
就是我们这个车队管理系统，这个核心主要是在算法这一块儿。像现在有这么大的规模的自动化码头，我们都可以做下来的话，将来任何一个再大规模的自动化码头，我认为我们都有很强的信心。
这些平均年龄不到28岁的年轻人，已经是中国港机装备智能化的主力。智能码头作业效率可以提升30%，意味着目前世界上最大的集装箱船在这里装卸能比以前节省10个小时。
It cannot be said that they are fully automated port yet, but their value is increasing. In case of Korea, there are only terminals in the semi-automated condition. Adoption of the fully automated ports has not been made not because of technology, but because of the delay in agreement process with the port neighbor unions. It should be noted that advancement of technology is important, but social consensus is also an important part in the automation of ports. unloading and storing facilities in the future pursue full automation. Next, I will show you the concept of box bay of DP World and automated vehicle of Volvo trucks. processes are handled by unmanned automation equipment without people working at the working site, except for control tower and monitoring center. Pursuing efficiency and safety at the same time. In terms of software, workers can handle cargo safely, accurately, and rapidly through IoT-based safe operation system, AI-based terminal operation system, and IoT-based virtual reality. These technologies are developing at a rapid pace, and they are expected to spread to all ports and around the world, even though they are being used as a pilot operation. Port backup area adjusted to the port is also evolving in terms of both hardware and software. As a consumer-oriented logistics market grows, the port logistics, which was in the same of B2B in the past, now includes B2C. So, fulfillment centers began to move into the port backup area. The fulfillment center has begun to play a role as a means to connect port and consumers, and vice versa, as well as to connect port and vice versa in the port backup area. In particular, in countries with a small territory like Korea, it was possible to begin an upper handle in terms of time and cost required by consumers, as it became possible to deliver products to consumers without going through many steps of distribution and logistics by using fulfillment center in the port backup area. This phenomenon is expected to intensify. Ports in the past bring up the image of a port full of cargo and fumes. However, the future port will provide clean air and safe and convenient space where people and cargo are harmonized. To this end, energy-independent ports that produce and consume eco-friendly energy within in a port will emerge. In addition, it will be made into a safe space where all dangers that may be introduced or occur through ports can be depended. We need to make the future port a green port where people and cargo coexist and safe and clean space is maintained. Today, I made a presentation on how Korean ports have been developed through Port District Park and how they are developing currently. In addition, I talked about how future ports, not only in Korea, but also in other countries, are evolving, including Port District Park, by applying the post-industrial technologies and the future direction for ports. I hope that this presentation helps the development of a port logistics sector in many countries. Thank you for your attention.